Hello everyone, welcome to the ITLS Academy. Our today's lecture is on the topic obesity. So beginning with our lecture with the first topic, classification and prevalence. The simplest and most widely used classification for obesity in adult is based on their body mass index. That is, if they are considered their body mass index, that is the BMI, is less than 18.5, they are considered to be underweight. If their body mass is 18.5 or lie between 24.5, then they are considered to be the normal stage. They are not considered as the obesity. If their body mass index lie between somewhere 25 or less than 30, then they are considered as overweight. Severe obesity, in the case of severe obesity, the BMI index, the body mass index lie between 35 and 39.5. Morbid obesity and obesity lies between 40 to 50. So this is the most severe case where the proper treatment is to be considered, where the surgeries are requirement for the treatment of obesity. So this is the body mass index, depending upon which you classify the obesity in adults and in adults and in children. For obesity in children, I have discussed this topic in our previous lecture on the topic nutritional problem for children and adolescents, so you may consider that lecture also in the case of an information of obesity in children. So today I'll be talking about the obesity in adult, their treatment and how they can be cured in on basis of their nutritional diet. So increasing risk of obesity is associated with the increasing age and lower socio-economic group, and especially in women's it is also a higher risk of people who are from black, Caribbean and Pakistani background, especially the women's, as they eat more meat, non-veg in their diet. So BMI is the simple and quick to use. It has a limitation because it is based simply on the ratio of the weight to height and does not take account of the body composition. So if we talk about the prevalence of the obesity has been increasing for decades, with approx 22% of men and 23% of women are classified as obese and considered in 2002, and the previous data was 6% and 8% in women in 1980s. So prevalence varies greatly from country to country, and from globally it is estimated that more than 1 billion adults, that is 16%, are overweight and at least 300 million, that is 5%, are obese. So some of the fastest rate of increase have been observed in urban areas and developing countries where obesity and undernutrition coexist. So let's talk about the contributing causes. Obesity results from an excess of dietary energy intake, over energy expenditure, and thus both an increase in intake and a decrease in expenditure will lead to the excess calories which are being stored as a fat, and ultimately they causes the obesity. Your body get too heavier due to these problems, means the energy intake is higher, and in comparison to that you expend the energy in less quantity. So the main causes of this obesity is mainly, firstly, the increase in energy intake. Basically, as we know, food has become more accessible nowadays, and they are often available in cheaper and in most part of the world through improved agricultural practices, industrialization of the food processing, and the introduction of efficient food transport and storage. So in addition to this, The energy dense foods are also available in the market, and it has become easier and quicker to obtain than preparing and eating the palatable meat. So, what happened? We take energy in too much quantity. The concentrated calories found in a high fat and high sugar diet undoubtedly contribute to an excessive energy intake. And this is not the only factor responsible for the present obesity epidemic. Lots of if we continuously eat too much of food, too much of heavy doses of the food, and in comparison to that we do less work, we expend energy of our body energy in is less, then our body become heavier and heavier, and this may cause the obesity in our body. Next cause is your decreased energy expenditure. So there are evident points to a rapid decline in level of activity when we evaluate by participating in manual labors. Often, firstly, we in the previous time, in the earlier time, we used to walk, but the car ownership has taken the advantage of this. Those who are vehicles, they instead of walking, they drive their car, they restore their energy, they decrease the expenditure on walking. So availability of labor saving devices are available in the market. Hours spent watching television and computer uses. So these are the points, these are the factors where where the our body's energy expenditure is decreases day by day, and this decline mirrors the rise in the obesity and is thus considered a major contributory factor for obesity. Next is your metabolic factors. Okay, there is no evidence to support the concept that a low metabolic rate is the major cause of obesity. In a very small number of individuals, your endocrine disorders such as Cushing syndromes and hypothyroidism and Prader-Wills syndrome, or congenital leptin deficiencies are the cause of obesity. Means if your body is somehow somehow suffering from any of the diseases, so due to that reason also the metabolic factors get affected, and thus your body got obsessed. Next is your genetic factor. Obesity tends to run in families, but shared environmental factors probably contribute more to obesity than the common genetic factor, and the current rapid increase in obesity prevalence cannot be explained by the gene pool changing so quickly. So it is likely that some individuals are genetically more susceptible to the effect of an obesogenic environment. Next is your last one factor is your fetal programming. So the Parker hypothesis proposes that undernutrition during pregnancy may permanently damage the fetus, leading to the programming of ill health, including the increased susceptibility to obesity in adulthood. Okay, let's talk about the clinical consequences. Obesity is associated with a higher risk of death and morbidity. The life expectancy of men and women with a body mass index greater than 45 kg per meter square ages of age 20 to 30 years is 13 to 8 years lower, respectively, than that of those with a BMI having 24 kg per meter square. So, consequences firstly, I'm telling about the metabolic consequences means the diabetes 2, insulin resistant, hyperlipidemia, hypertension, stroke, gallstone, breast, colon cancer, infertility in men and women, and polycystic ovary syndrome. So these are the consequences that may occur due to your obesity, due to your higher weight, heavier weight of the body. The next consequence includes your physical. disorders. So along with your metabolic disorder, that means this is occurring within inside your body may affect it due to your physical health, that is osteoarthritis, chronic back pain, respiratory problems, decrease in mobility and accidents, sleep apnea, skin problem. So these are also some of the problems that may occur due to your obesity. Third consequence is your psychosocial problems, that is you may go through your depression, low self-esteem, self-isolation, you do not want to indulge in any of the activities, poor employment status, impaired relationship. So these may are the consequences that occurs due to your obesity. Your metabolic activities also get affected, physically also get you, or your body is also affected by obesity, and also it affects your mental health also. So let's talk about some common treatments for obesity. Generally, the common treatments leads your lifestyle changes. Firstly, in order to treat your obesity, firstly you have to work by yourself. You have to change your lifestyle, whatever the schedule you are following. You have to do some of the changes in your schedule. This typically includes your weight loss effort designed to help people consume fewer calories and increase physical activity, sometimes directed by your doctor. Means your in your daily life schedule, you have to do some of the changes. You have to include more of the activities, physical activities, where you can expend more of your energy expenditure should increases instead of increasing the energy intake. Next is second one is your prescribed nutrition. So this is a step beyond lifestyle change and entails a doctor directed diet tailored to your body, including vegan eating, intermittent fasting, and others. So this is the prescription that you should follow by some of the dietitian. A particular diet chart you should follow, which consists of low calories diet, and may your body get the full energy, but in the limited quantity. Third step of treatment is your pharmacotherapy. So pharmacotherapy is, you have to try when your weight could not your body weight means your increasing body weight is not controlled, then you have to go through the pharmacotherapy. When your BMI, that is your body mass index, is 27 or more, you may qualify for an appetite suppressing medications that can help you with your prescribed nutrition and exercise program. Then last option comes your surgery. This is the last one. You have to go for bariatric surgery. Is the most effective treatment for the obesity, but it also carries the most risk, and it's typically used in those whose BMI is higher than 40. So these are the four types of treatment a dietitian gives to the patient who are suffering from the obesity, depending upon their body mass index. So here is the obesity treatment pyramid. As I told, firstly, when you are going through obesity, means severe obesity, you should follow the some diet change or some physical activity. You have to go through this lifestyle modification. But still, your increasing body weight is not in control. Then you should opt the another option, that is the pharmacotherapy, and then later, if your body mass index is greater than 40, then you should go for your last option, that is your surgery, bariatric surgery. This is the obesity treatment pyramid. Means you, for controlling your increasing body weight, for controlling your obesity, you have to take the small step. If it is not in response, then you have to take the another step of pharmacotherapy, and then lastly, if then also it is not controlled, then the last step is your surgery. So I'm taking the first treatment as introduction and dietary management. They means the change in the lifestyle. So let me tell you, there before in treatment, there is a benefit of weight loss. Means if you lose 10 kg is associated with the reduction of up to 20% of the total mortality, and with this your BP will be also in control. Means 10 mg systolic and 20 mmHg diastolic, your BP will be in normal condition, will be controlled. You do not have any problem of blood pressure or any problem of cardiac problem. Also, 50% fasting glucose will be consumed in this. 10% of the total cholesterol and rise of 8% HDL cholesterol will be there. So these are the benefits of weight loss. So the patient should be encouraged for going through the treatment of obesity. Okay, there are most effective treatment of obesity is multifactorial approaches, embracing a number of different strategies which should be individualized for maximum effect. So the first essential stage of treatment is to assess the individual by determining firstly the dietitian or whosoever is going through the obesity. There is a requirement to know the history of weight gain and previous attempt at reduction of that particular person who is suffering from obesity. There is also requirement to know the current dietary intake of his or her, their meal pattern, and also the food preference they are eating, they are going through. And there is also requirement for them to know about the current level of their physical activity. Means in their daily life what are the activities they are going through, or they are doing any exercise or not, or whether they are sitting and normally watching the television or doing nothing in the home. So these are the points that should be keep in mind while going through any dietary management. These are the points the dietitian should be know of that patient. There is also requirement for degree of motivation of whether the individual is ready to change or not, and which treatment he or she want to prefer. So when this information has been elucidated, a treatment package can be worked out ideally with that patient assistance. So for the first the first change is considered as your dietary management. So in dietary management, a plethora of weight reducing diet is available to the general public, ranging from the health diet with the modest reduction in energy to questionable complex single food regimes. So the main goal of all the dietary management in obesity should be to help the individual to reduce their energy intake and to an acceptable level while consuming the diet that is adequate in all the other nutrients, compatible with the good health, practical to follow, and can be reconciled with their lifestyle. So this is the main goal. Whenever a dietitian should plan a dietary management, he or she should keep in mind what is the requirement, why you are doing, why when planning any of the diet chart for a patient. So the first approach in this regard is modified health eating or low fat diet. So based on the balance of good health, a modest energy reduction can be achieved by reducing or eliminating the intake of concentrated calories, particularly from the fat, and increasing the fruit vegetable intake to a minimum of 5 portion per day and maintaining intake of whole grain cereals, lean meat or fish or low fat dairy products. So this is the healthy a balance of good health diet could be managed by taking this type of calories. Next is your low carbohydrate diets. So low carbohydrate diets, also known as protein sparing modified fat fasts, are defined as providing less than 40 gram per day carbohydrate. So this advises an initial 2 week reduction in carbohydrate intake, that is less than 20 gram per day, while eating unrestricted amount of protein, that including your poultry, fish, eggs and red meat and fats such as your butter and olive oil. So low carbohydrate diets are associated with the greater weight loss at 6 months, and that are conventional low fat diet. Long-term studies are required to evaluate changes in nutritional status. The third approach is the structured weight loss plan. These regimes are designed to be followed for a limited period of time during which a detailed prescribed menu is followed. Ideally, this should provide approximately 500 calories per day less than the pre-dieting intake and including adequate nutrients. The advantage for some participant is the comfort of having a structured eating pattern, especially if this is accompanied by regular weight loss. But it has some disadvantages also. It has additional expense, rigidity of some regimes, and sometimes it is hard to follow, particularly in the context of if you have a busy family or working life, and sometimes no contribution to long-term healthier eating practices. These are the problems which comes under this structured weight loss plan. Next is your calorie counting. So in calorie counting, it is based on the simple concept of reducing energy intake to a level below total energy expenditure, fundamental to weight loss, but is not necessarily compatible with the optimum nutritional intake or promoting long-term health. So some people appreciate the flexibility of being able to plan their own intake and vary this from day to day, including naughty items that conventionally are not encouraged on a weight reducing diet. It is possible but not desirable to conduct a low calorie diet based on your chocolate, crisps and beer, etc. Next is your very low calorie diet, VLCD. Okay, VLCD are usually the liquid milk based drinks or soup which aim to provide the consumer's total nutrient requirement within a day, limited energies. Uh, Comparable diet can be made at home from milk, but required adequate micronutrient supplementation. So VLCDs are effective in bringing about short-term weight loss, and in some, but not all the patient. This is not for all the patient. This is maintained over a longer period of time. Concerns have been raised about reduction in lean body mass associated with the rapid weight loss and absence of reduction re-education about long-term eating habits. Last one is your meal replacement. So similar to the complete nutrition concept of very low calorie diet, meal replacement program provides the weight reducer with a range of food items that contribute an intake limited in energy but supplemented with the micronutrients. The food items vary but include your milkshake, soups, cereal type snacks, bar, and pre-prepared meals. So these are the uh, treatment which is given at the initial stage of obesity, means if your body mass index lies between 20 to 25 or 35, then you should go for any dietary management any changement in the dietary management, a plan for a diet, a balanced diet to control your obesity. Next is your treatment includes your physical activity and behavior therapy. So physical activity, increasing energy expenditure is an effective way of reducing weight and preventing the weight gain. So physical exercise alone is less effective than dietary modification, but ideally both should be used together. As I told in the previous slide, dietary modification, if you do it with in addition with physical activity, then it shows the a good effect on reducing your weight. So additional benefit associated with a regular exercise independent of weight loss, including your increased sense of well-being and reduce the risk of ill health, including the diabetes, cardiovascular diseases, and sometimes cancer. Significant weight loss has been observed after 6 to 12 months following 2 to 4 episodes per week of aerobic activity, and each lasting 20 to 45 minutes. So, relatively few side effects have been reported, but range from mild or to severe, predominantly in individuals with morbid obesity. So, physical activity is a good exercise if controlling your gaining weight. Next is your behavior therapy. Behavior therapy, the strategies to change behavior relating to weight management include uh, cognitive behavior therapy, which includes the meta-analysis of studies using behavior changes strategies either alone or in conjunction with other treatment found the greatest weight loss at 12 months was associated with the combination of behavior therapy, diet, and sibutramine. So it is generally a communication skill and behavior change on a one to one level. So in behavioral change, you should go for some of the activities as am telling. For example, you should shop for food only after eating and buy items from a list, means you have to prepare a list. Another example for this is you have to eat all the food while sitting down in one place and at a planned time. Sometimes serve foods on a smaller plate. If possible, ask someone else to serve. And another example is put down fork between each mouthful, chew each mouthful thoroughly, and also concentrate on eating and enjoying food. So these are the examples of behavior strategies for weight reduction. Means you have to cut it down your own habits. You have to change in your behavior while eating or while choosing for any meal. Next treatment is your pharmacotherapy for obesity. So, two drugs are licensed for the treatment of obesity. First is the orlistat, and second one is sibutramine. According to the RCTs, shows that both are an effective adjuvant to dietary treatment and are associated with a weight loss of 2 to 5 kg greater than that of control group of 2 years. So the first drug is orlistat, that is the Xenical. It generally reduces the calories intake by blocking the digestive lipase, reducing the gastrointestinal absorption of the fatty acids, cholesterol, and fat soluble vitamin, and increase the fecal fat excretion. The side effects include the oily rectal discharge and fecal incontinence, decrease in blood fat. Fat soluble vitamins has been observed, but there is no clinical deficiencies have been reported. So the NICE means the National Institute of Clinical Excellence guidance. The use of orlistat is it is prescribed only for the people who have lost greater than 2.5 kg by diet and exercise in last month and have a BMI still greater than 30 kg. So it is this medicine is generally prescribed for those whose BMI is greater than 30, and also they have undergone through diet and diet modification and exercise, but then also do not have any effect, then this medication is prescribed, and it is only continued beyond 3 months if lost at least 5% of the body weight since starting treatment, and if the loss or at least if the body loss is 10%, then it is continued for 6 months. The treatment should not usually be continued for 12 months or and never be for approx 2 years. Next medicine is sibutramine, that is the reductile. It reduces calorie intake by inducing early satiety through blocking reuptake of serotonin and noradrenaline in the brain. The side effects include increase in heart rate, constipation, and sleep problem, and palpitations, nausea, dizziness, headache. On discontinuation, headache and increased appetite have been reported in rare cases. So generally this medication is prescribed only for the people whose age is lies between 18 to 65 years and having their body mass index greater than 30. It is also prescribed only for people who have made previous serious attempt to lose weight by their physical changement in their diet and physical activity and lifestyle changes. And now normally we generally start this dose with the 10 mg per day and then only continued beyond 4 weeks if loss greater than 2 kg, but can increase dose of 15 mg. For this case also, the treatment should not be continued before means greater than 12 months, and for this treatment you have to check the BP regularly. Your blood pressure should be checked regularly. Next is the role of dietitian in weight management. Okay, there is a greater role of dietitian in weight management of a obesity suffering patient. So registered dietitians are well placed to play a role in weight management programs, having been trained in nutritional science and its application and communication. So their contribution may include the following, that is, first one is one-to-one session with individuals. In this, the evaluating the energy intake. In one-to-one session, they evaluate their energy intake, expenditure, and readiness to embark on necessary lifestyle change. And patient can expect practical lifestyle advice that is tailored to their needs, with the dietitian acting as a facilitator on enable on how to make the necessary behavior change. So one-to-one session is very important, in which the dietitian come across all the physical activities, all the going through activities per day activity the patient is going through, and according to that he plan out the diet. The next role is running group program. In running group program, the dietitian covers the topics such as those, for example, means he covers the topic as of realistic goals and what is a healthy diet, overcoming temptation, stepping up activity, supermarket tour, shopping tips to save calories, cutting calories in cooking. So these are the discussions that are being discussed in running a program by a dietitian, and this session can be run for general or specific groups and may be open to self or group referred to the patients. Third role is educating other health professionals. By this education is done by running training days for uh, patient nurse practices. This might include information about prevalence and effects of obesity, when to refer, weight loss service available locally, morbid obesity. These are the education that is given to the normal people, can be given to all. Last one is obesity prevention through the health promotion service and nutrition policy. So this is the role. These all are the roles that are played by the particular dietitian for preparing any diet chart, for preparing any diet, for prescribing any diet for controlling the obesity. Okay, the last treatment is your bariatric surgery and alternative treatment. So this is the last step, last treatment when your dietary change cannot be found helpful. Your physical activities is also not shows the greater result. Your pharmacotherapy is also fails in controlling your increasing weight. Then the last option comes your surgery. So several different surgeries, surgical procedures are available for the treatment of obesity and are associated with significant weight loss and reduction in risk factor in individuals with a body mass index greater than 40 kg per meter square. So according to NICE guidance, surgery is recommended as a treatment option for the people with morbid obesity. Means having the body mass index greater than 40 kg or 35, lie between 30 to 35 to 40 with a significant comorbidities. Providing the individuals that fulfill, means the surgery is only be done when the patient has received intense management from the specialized hospital obesity clinic. He or she should be aged before, means greater than 18 years. The evidence that all the other available methods of weight loss have been tried and have failed, then only this surgery occurs. Means all the options of the controlling your body weight has been failed, and now the last option occurs, that is you have to go for the surgery. There is also criteria that no specific clinical or physiological contradictions to the surgery, fit for anesthesia and surgery, and understand need for long-term follow-up. So there are different criteria. There are different types of surgeries occur in bariatric surgery. First is your vertical banded gastroplasty. In vertical banded gastroplasty, stomach is surgically stapled to create approximately 30 ml pouch that restrict the intake of food at any one time. It is associated with the weight loss of 40 to 65% of pre-surgery weight loss after 5 years. The reoperation required in 20% within 5 to 10 years, and fewer serious long-term consequences occurs. The next surgery is your gastric bypass. In gastric bypass, a small section of upper stomach is formed into a pouch and anastomosed onto proximal jejunum, and which limits food intake and bypasses most of the stomach and duodenum, resulting in some malabsorption, and it is associated with significant weight loss of 50 to 75% of pre-surgery and weight lost after 5 years. The next is your gastric banding. Formation in gastric banding, there is a formation of stomach pouch using a tight band applied via keyhole surgery. In this less invasive than gastroplasty or bypass, band can be adjusted to change size of the pouch using the fluid injected via a subcutaneous port. It is associated with the weight loss of mean 37 kg in 58% of the patient at 5 years. Fewer short-term complications associated with the procedure, but long-term, that is 35% of bands required removal due to the band slippage, pouch dilation, and erosion. Other methods include your jejunal ileal bypass or biliopancreatic diversion and jaw widening are older procedures that are now rarely undertaken. There also occurs the post-surgical dietary management. It is a short term that sips of fluid and small may up to 15 to 30 gram portion. Frequently intake of semi-solid food gradually increasing on to a nutrient-dense diet included pure meat, fish, yogurt, mashed potato, fruit juice. And in long term, if we talk about a continue on small nutrient dense milk with increasing variety determined by a trial and error, avoiding concentrated source of energy or large quantity that may be lead to the gastrointestinal symptoms. Daily multivitamin supplements are recommended. So these are the dietary management that you have to follow after the surgery. There's also occur an alternative treatment, means as conventional treatment of obesity is often unsuccessful in long term. There is a considerable interest in novel and alternative approaches to weight reduction. This includes your acupuncture, herbs, and aromatherapy and hypnosis. A systematic review of 1517 published studies drew no conclusion on the effect of alternative treatment for obesity. So these are not very much effective, but sometimes it do some of the effect, show some of the effect on your obesity problems. Next is your conditions associated with the obesity. Means it also comes in your consequences, as in your previous slide I have told about the consequences of obesity, that you have to go, you may go for metabolic, physical and psychosocial changes. In that, the most effective problem is your polycystic ovary syndrome. Approximately 4 to 10% of women of childbearing age have PCOS, which is associated with the raised androgen level and an irregular menstrual cycle or ovarian cyst. So, common nutritional features include your abdominal weight gain and the characteristics associated with the metabolic syndrome, which may be which leads to reduced fertility and abnormal menstrual cycle are associated with the obesity and hyperinsulinemia, and there is increased long-term risk of heart disease. So this is the main problem arises due to the increased weight due to the obesity. For this management, the weight loss in obese women is associated with the resumption of ovulation and increased fertility. Relatively small losses of approximately 6 kg have been shown to be beneficial. And if women go for modification of dietary intake and physical activity, is considered the first line treatment uh, for recovering from this polycystic ovary syndrome. And if you control your obesity, then their problems of PCOS could be retarded. Next is your Prader-Willi syndrome. Prader-Willi syndrome is a complex genetic disorder associated with the excessive appetite, low muscle tone, emotional instability, immature physical development, and learning disabilities. Although infants with the Prader-Willi syndrome may have feeding difficulties leading to the growth faltering, children aged over 1 year often gain weight very rapidly due to the hyperphagia. For this condition, the dietary management should follow a pediatric dietitian, should give individuals dietary advice, and ideally the whole family should be involved in this treatment. The goal of dietary management is to achieve a nutritionally balanced intake with an appropriate energy intake to treat or prevent obesity. Compliance is often very poor due to an instability appetite, and sometimes locking fridge and food stores may be required. for the treatment of Prader-Willi syndrome. Thank you for being with us. I hope you have understood all the relevant data for treatment of obesity, causes and consequences. For more information related to this, quickly log on to our website www.itlsacademy.com and register yourself. You can also follow us on Instagram, Facebook, WhatsApp, Twitter, LinkedIn. And yes, do not forget to subscribe our channel ITLS Academy at YouTube. Thank you.